Joanie Schirm hoped to travel when she retired 10 years ago, but had no idea it would become a journey of personal discovery. Along the way, she uncovered family secrets, revealed an international network of young people fleeing Nazi persecution, and became a respected scholar, teacher, and author.
I had no idea. This is really an unexpected, uncommon journey that I have adored from the very beginning.
It all began after her parents passed away within 2 days of one another. While going through her father's belongings, Joanie discovered nearly 400 letters written in Czech. The first letter she had translated changed her life. It was written to her father by her grandfather just days before he and Joanie's grandmother were taken to a Nazi extermination camp. It begins, "My dear boy."
April 21st, 1942. My dear boy. Today we are leaving for a gathering point to follow the fate of those unfortunate people in 3 to 4 days who since last October have been gradually chased out of their homes and sent to concentration camps, robbed of everything they had. I am not certain whether I will see you ever again, so I decided to write these lines as my goodbye to you. I just always try and imagine him sitting there, and writing that letter to his son. It's just amazing. And then I imagined my father receiving it.
He didn't receive the letter for 3 years and knew at the time that he was reading his father's final wishes.
And what his father wishes for him, that he will not use his profession of curing, he was a doctor, not just use his profession of curing to gather wealth, but that he used it to be a benefactor to the suffering humanity. And that was the way I met my grandfather, who I never got the opportunity to meet. I instantly fell in love with this man when I read the letter.
Inspired by a single letter written by a relative she had never met, Joanie had all 400 letters translated and learned that they were from 78 different writers. When pieced together, they revealed a fascinating, heartbreaking, and ultimately inspiring story with her father as the central character. Oswald Holzer was a young doctor in the Czech army when the Nazis arrived in 1939 and incorporated his unit. In a daring escape, he returned to Prague to see his parents and then made his way to China, one of the few countries accepting those of Jewish heritage. It was there that he met and married Joanie's mother, the daughter of American missionaries. Within months, they were on the President Coolidge evacuation ship carrying Americans from Asia as the Japanese became more aggressive in advance of Pearl Harbor. The letters are a first-hand account of young people fleeing the Nazi Holocaust. Joanie dubbed them adventurers against their will in her award-winning first book. Translating the letters wasn't enough. Joanie traveled to places mentioned in the letters, found and spoke to the few letter writers still alive, and interviewed descendants of those who were gone. In the end, it was a story she had to share.
These are my inspiration. When I started writing, it was all new to me. I always wanted to write, wrote when I was little kind of thing, and I was overwhelmed with the collection, how much there was and what I was going to do and how I was going to write the story and everything. And a friend of mine said one day, knew about the pants and all, said, you should just go upstairs one day and you should just strip down and put on the pants and wear the pants, and that'll give you your inspiration. And I did that.
The letters revealed that her father wore his old riding pants over his military uniform on the day that he made his life-saving escape.
It was better to wear that because there were people walking in riding pants at that time in history. So you could just kind of disappear into a crowd and people didn't notice.
What do they represent? Obviously his ingenuity, his determination.
They really represent everything. I think mostly they represent the fact that my brother, sister, and I exist.
They're now part of an important historical collection and educational platform that Joanie has built and shares with teachers and students in the U.S. and Europe.
So you have to understand that history, and there are many echoes of today really around the world, so it kind of haunts you a little bit when you see that. And it's really good for kids in school. I mean, you can learn about the Holocaust, but you can also learn about, what happens when autocrats go into control and what that looks like. And again, there's echoes of that around the world.
Before discovering the letters, Joanie had no real details about how her father's journey to America began. but she certainly knew how it ended. He was married and in love with her mother for 60 years, raised a wonderful family, and granted his father's dying wish, becoming a pillar in his community and using his skills as a doctor not just to make money, but to make a difference.
Despair, it brings darkness into people's lives, but hope really invigorates us and moves us on, and I think that's the way that my father lived his life.
My Dear Boy, written in her father's voice, is as fascinating as it is important, a reminder of the dangers of human aggression and intolerance and the power of love and compassion.
I still believe that, one candle in a room can light it up, and it provides hope. And so what I see are a lot of very re-engaged people, and then the new generation really coming forward and speaking up and becoming active.
Sharing her father's story has added an entirely new chapter to her story with the promise of more to come.
It's been great, and I really do feel like it gave me a purpose I never would have been expecting to be given. I'm 70, and that was a number that, sounded daunting a while back, but now I feel great. I think that, there's a lot to happen. I love seeing the world, I love traveling the world, and I feel very fortunate. So I think women of my age, really look at the world differently than our moms did, and we're lucky for that.